New polling today indicates 73% of people in France think that America is no longer an ally. Well, that's probably good. That probably indicates less support for Le Pen, right? Because, you know, if they think that Trump isn't their ally, Rare France W, 64% fear the conflict will spread to France. The invasion of Ukraine? 64% think buddy, Russia has to go through Poland, the Baltics, Germany, Austria, Czechia. There's a few. I mean, they are French. Yeah, I suppose. More European polling in America. This has happened before, but like, man, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, France, Britain. Italy still hovering around 42%, which makes sense because if you think about it, Donald Trump is literally Italian. He is so Italian-coded. It's a consequence of him being a New Yorker. It makes sense. He's German. We're talking about his spirit, okay? Keep up. You're making a fool out of yourself. Yeah, I saw that earlier today, apparently an 800 billion euro defense package is being proposed by the European Union.
Good morning, everyone. President von der Leyen will make a statement to you on the defense package for the European Council.
Good morning, and sorry for the early hour. We're living in the most momentous and dangerous of times. I do not need to describe the grave nature of the threats that we face or the devastating consequences.
It really is crazy how it's all Trump, right? Like, obviously, Russia's invasion of Ukraine was very destabilizing, but apart from that, I mean, that's stalled. With continual support to Ukraine, like that war front, that line pretty much stalled. It's stalled for years. Like that it's literally just Trump. Trump winning has now thrown the entire West into chaos.
We will have to endure if those threats would come to pass, because the question is no longer whether Europe's security is threatened in a very real way, or whether Europe should shoulder more of its responsibility for its own security. In truth, we have long known...
Why European people seem more sane than Americans? For one, they're kind of not, but also keep in mind that America has been blanketed by the most expensive and most concentrated right-wing propaganda effort in human history, and nothing else even comes close. The amount of money and effort that has been expended to blanket this country in non-stop right-wing hysteria, it exceeds any other project of its kind. Nothing else even comes remotely close. Generations and generations of very, very, very deliberate, I mean, propagandizing, that's all over the world. That's, you know, that's universal. But the Fox News machine, I mean, that's what we call it, but it's not just Fox News. But they're a big part of it. Yet half the country still didn't fall for it. Yeah, because fascism creates in-groups and out-groups, you know? You can't actually do that to an entire country because then you'd have no inner-outer group distinction.
The answers to those questions.
Oh, I should note, by the way, just in case anyone's wondering what the context of this is like what, you know, what's happening in relation. We've suspended all aid to Ukraine. Unsurprising, of course. Unsurprising, right? Like, kind of expected this. But still evil. Aid to Russia win? We'll get there. We'll get there.
The real question in front of us is whether Europe is prepared to act as decisively as the situation dictates, and whether Europe is ready and able to act with speed and with the ambition that is needed. In the various meetings in the last few weeks, most recently 2 days ago in London, the answer from European capitals has been as resounding as it is clear. We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine.
We got it, guys. We got our multipolar world back.
But also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. And this is why today I have written a letter to the leaders ahead of Thursday's European Council. This is why we are here together today. I have outlined in this letter to the leaders the Rearm Europe plan. This set of proposals focuses on how to use all the financial levers at our disposal in order to help member states to quickly.
Why do people like multipolarity? Because people didn't like uncontested U.S. dominance of the world. Unfortunately, multipolarity generally just causes conflict, you know? The world was more dangerous overall when the Soviet Union was present, not necessarily because the Soviet Union was worse than the United States, but because the fact that it's just simple. You've got two big dogs competing. It's obvious. Think about it, right? You've got, rather than having one person squatting on the planet like a big fat dragon on his pile of gold, you have two dragons fighting over the pile, right? It's just how it is.
And significantly increase expenditures in defense capabilities, urgently now, but also over a longer period of time over this decade. Now, there are 5 points to this plan. The first part of this Rearm Europe plan is to unleash the use of public funding in defense on the national level. Member states are ready to invest more in their own security if they have the fiscal space, so we must enable them to do so. And this is why we will propose to activate the national escape clause of the Stability and Growth Pact. This will allow member states to significantly increase their defense expenditures without triggering the excessive deficit procedure.
This is actually huge. Like, basically, the EU was like opening up the gate to deficit spending to fund a military resurgence of the member states of the EU. It's actually like, yeah, they're basically like knocking the chains off the war chest, you know? You can dip in, man. Go into debt. Who cares? Get those nukes.
So if member states would increase their defense spending by 1.5% of GDP on average,
that's huge. That's massive.
This could create fiscal space of close to 650 billion euros over a period of 4 years. The second proposal will be a new instrument. It will provide 150 billion euros of loans to member states for defense investment. This is about basically spending better and spending together. And we're talking about pan-European capabilities domains like, for example, air and missile defense, the artillery systems, missiles and ammunition, drones and anti-drone systems, but also to address other needs from cyber to military mobility, for example.
Like, how big is this? Is it concerning? Listen, I don't like rearmament as a concept, but if America's committed to being double, triple Hitler or whatever, then obviously, yeah. You know, NATO doesn't mean anything, or at least the American protection implied by our presence in NATO no longer means anything. In the world that we live in now, it is better that the EU form their own military bloc than for them to just rely on us now that we're like objectively pro-Russian, you know?
This will help member states to pool demand and to buy together. And of course, with this equipment, member states can massively step up their support to Ukraine. So immediate military equipment for Ukraine.
Big.
This approach of joint procurement will also reduce costs. It will reduce fragmentation. But
it's wild you have to convince liberals to defend themselves. Listen, I don't like the economy being directed towards the military, you know? I think it's good to not spend money on weapons. But in the world we live in, there are a lot of weapons out there. And I don't want the bad guys to be the only ones with them. How is the American MI6 not pissed the fuck off by this? Don't they like the war? They'll probably make their money back in Israel. They'll find a way. They'll sell to Russia if they have to. They'll find a way. Who are they even buying them from? China? The EU? They're going to make them. Guys, this isn't a purchase. They're not buying these weapons. They're making them. They're don't you understand? They're firing up the war machine. The European Union. They're developing it. They're building the factories. They're going to be building bombs in Germany again. They're waking that shit up.
It will increase interoperability and, of course, strengthen our defense industrial base. And it can be to the benefit of Ukraine, as I've just described. So this is Europe's moment, and we must live up to it. The third point is using the power of the EU budget. And there's a lot we can do in this domain in the short term to direct more funds towards defense-related investments. And this is why I can announce that we will propose additional possibilities and incentives for member states, that they will decide if they want to use cohesion policy programs to increase defense spending. Now, the last two areas of action aim at mobilizing private capital by accelerating the Savings and Investment Union and, of course, through the European Investment Bank. So to conclude,
it is actually possible, it is actually possible that this military investment, now that it's being done with kind of like an impetus, they've got a bit of a fire lit under their ass, it is possible this leads to an economic boom for the European Union. An increase in global, I don't want to say paranoia, an increase in the perceived need for domestic arms manufacturing could fuel a manufacturing boom in a lot of these countries, which could do a lot to shore up, not necessarily protectionist, but kind of protectionist attitude, you know, keep things in-house. The European Union is a powerful economic bloc. I'll take an EU century. We'll see. Just check out Rheinmetall's stock. Yeah, I should have invested when I got the chance. Probably still going to go up. But yeah, no, it's been booming for sure. 100%. Since, yep, February 12th, it's gone from 150 to 250.
Europe is ready to assume its responsibilities. Rearm Europe could mobilize close to 800 billion euros of defense expenditures for a safe and resilient Europe. We will, of course, continue working closely with our partners in NATO. This is a moment for Europe.
If the EU doesn't produce nukes, they have no leverage against nuclear-armed states. France has nukes. But don't worry, they can produce nukes. They have the ability. It's not difficult to make nuclear weapons, you know. I mean, I couldn't do it in my backyard, as far as you're aware. But these are developed countries. They can make them.
And we are ready to step up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No questions today. No questions today. There will be later on possibilities at the latest.
You think Russia will start saber rattling? Man, from like you know that they've got to be a little mad in their investment, right? Because from Russia's perspective, it's like invades Ukraine, new countries join NATO, European Union rearms, trillions of dollars spent in like the total rearmament of the West, like everything NATO westward, the Baltics, Poland, even the Balkan states. It's just they're going to be bristling. They have the United States, but what are we worth? We're like a decaying gorilla. Isn't this basically threatening the US? No, the European Union is not threatening the United States. The European Union is essentially saying we no longer expect the US to protect us, which is really bad for the United States. As it turns out, it's actually good for the US to be the world policeman. That's actually like a powerful position to be in, if you think about it for like 2 minutes, you know? Like, world policeman? I don't know. It sounds like there might be some perks to that. You think Britain could rejoin the EU? They probably won't be able to for a while because of bitter feelings on both sides, if people even want to. But it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, Britain acts as a political bloc with the European Union, as they have been with Ukraine, by the way, or through their shared membership in NATO. Reminder, here's U.S. military spending versus the rest of the world. We're going to pump those numbers up. Sorry, not the rest of the world. The top 10 highest spending countries combined. Excuse me. France is the fourth most nukes in the world, by the way. Yeah, my question is, how many ICBMs do they have? Because you can have the nukes. What matters is if you can deliver them. A lot. They're well armed with the isn't a lot of US military spending bloated? Yeah, but we still have a very big military. That's the thing with nukes, you only need one. Actually, you would need a few thousand to really do the whole end of the world bit. Only 1 or 200? No. Not every nuke is Sarbama, you know. In fact, only one nuke was Sarbama. No way.